Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm doing a new computer build from scratch. This package costs about $1500. All are good quality parts. We have the Corsair 650 Gold power supply, the Corsair CPU water cooler, 16GB of RAM, Gigabyte 1060 GTX video card. The customer is not gonna play games, so this card is good enough. An Obsidian 750 full tower case. We also have two fast drives like the Samsung 970 Pro and 860 Pro as well. And finally we have the Asus TUF Z390 motherboard and Intel 9700K CPU. So let's get started. Unbox the case first. This is a nice and big case that we can easily build in. The front panel has 4 USB ports, 2 of them are fast 3.0 ports, and you have the usual audio interface and power and reset button. There is an air filter on the top and another one on the front. The case comes with 3 120mm installed fans. You have space for 4 SSD drives on the right side of the case, and more for mechanical hard drives inside the case. I'm gonna remove the extra hard drive cache since I'm not gonna be using it. And here we have all the required screws. Okay, now it's the time to install the power supply. I chose Corsair Gold because it's quite unreliable. Its rated service life is about 5 to 10 years and it's modular, so you don't have to worry about a lot of cables hanging from it. You only use what you need. The power supply fan will be at the bottom. It will face the ventilation and the air filter. All you need to do after that is just to attach the screws at the back and tighten them. That's it. This client wants a DVD drive installed, so I'm gonna use the top bay to install it. Note that the front bay cover could be tricky to remove, but if you reach out from the back, you should feel 2 levers on each side. Once you press them, you can remove the bay cover easily. All you need to do after that is insert the drive in firmly, and it should click in place. Now we're going to install the Samsung 860 Pro drive. These drives are very fast and last a very long time. The install is easy, just insert it in, and it uses 2 types of cables, one for power and one for data. For now we'll just install the drive and we'll do the cables later. The most important part of our build is the motherboard and the CPU. Make sure you pick the right ones that meet your needs. Here we have Asus TUF Z390. It has a built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I'll put a link in the description below for this one and for all the parts I'm using today. It is important to use anti-static cable or gloves when you are working on the main board. First we'll install the M2 drive, then we'll install the CPU. Let's remove the heat shield, and it's very important not to forget to remove the sticker on the back of the heat shield before you install it back on. Get the M2 support screw and install it on the motherboard. Install the M2 drive into the slot at about 30-degree angle and push the drive down slowly and hold it in place with another screw. Now remove the heat shield sticker and put the heat shield back on. Let's install the CPU. We have here 9700K, which is a good processor, very fast. It has 8 cores, so it's good for video editing or gaming. Press on the CPU lever to open the metal cover. Slowly insert the CPU in. Notice the small arrow on the bottom left side. Close the cover back slowly using the same lever. Next is the RAM. We have 16 GB from Corsair. Very easy to install. Open the RAM slot lever on the right side and insert the RAM either in the 2 gray slots or the 2 black ones. Follow your motherboard manual. Before putting the motherboard in the case, remember to install the motherboard shield. Once done, carefully align the motherboard ports with the shield, then tighten the screws. You should have 6 or 7 screws in. Next we'll install the CPU water cooler. We have Corsair H60 water cooling. It is the smallest water cooler available, but very effective. You can also use air coolers, but you have to get a very good one. Regular ones usually don't work well with fast CPUs such as a 9700 or 9900K. Since this cooler is heavy, we have to install a support base in the back of the motherboard. Once done, carefully tighten the support screws. Install the fan on top of the radiator and attach to your case. I'm gonna use the top of the case since I have some space there. Connect the fan to the motherboard power. Finally, screw the cooler head on the CPU. Don't over tighten. Then connect the cooler power. The motherboard needs a lot of power, so there is a dedicated 24-pin power cable. I routed that cable from the back, but there is not enough space to plug it in, and I don't wanna twist the cable really much. So I'm just gonna have to route it directly from the power supply without going through the back panel. Now we plug in the back fan power. They are usually 3 or 4 pin marked clearly on the motherboard. Very easy to see. Next we will install our 1060 video card into a PCI slot. As I mentioned before, this card will perform well in most applications and most games. However, if you are a hardcore gamer and play 4K games often, then I would suggest you go with the GTX 2070 or 2080. I'll put a link to these cards in the description below. Don't forget to connect the 6-pin power to the video card, it's very important. Okay, now we are ready to plug in the 8-pin CPU power cable. It's usually somewhere around the CPU location on the motherboard. Then we attach the SSD drive power and data cables. The opposite end of the data cable will connect to any SATA socket on the motherboard. This is how it looks. Do the same thing for the DVD drive. The front panel has 2 fast USB ports and 2 slow ones. You need to connect them to the board. So we'll connect the fast one first, it's bigger, 3.0. Now we'll connect the slow ones. Usually they look like this. Finally, the last thing left is to connect the front panel connections to the motherboard. Front panel connections include power and reset buttons, computer power and drive indicator lights. The cables are usually lumped up together. It will be hard to see in the dark case here, but I'll show it up on the pictures here. The design also depends on your motherboard type, so make sure you check your manual for the correct design. Now the moment of truth. Let's turn on the computer and see if it will start. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. We will see. Excellent, the computer is up and running. I will install Windows and check the CPU core temperatures. Let's see. Because we are using water cooling, we are getting very good idle temps, between 20 and 22 degrees Celsius. That's about 71 Fahrenheit. That's very good. There are more tests to do, but it's beyond the scope of this video, so I will stop here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a question, leave a comment below and I will reply. If you need a computer built, don't hesitate to contact me on my email listed below. Take care.